Hello, everyone, and welcome to Conversations in Horror, the podcast. I'm your host, Kevin L. Powers. I'm also the owner operator of Something Wicked Entertainment and Events, and welcome to our program today. So, obviously, what we've been doing in this show over the last 2 years, because I'm hoping that you have been here with us, at least, if not for 2 years, for a little bit, is that we take an individual film, and me and a special guest come on, and we talk about the film, we critique, analyze, and we kind of have a general conversation about that film. Now, what you may not know, unless you've been listening to a lot of our older podcast episodes, is that we have been doing a lot of episodes on found footage films because we are prepping to do a kind of a found footage book for next year coming from us, and so we've been going through a lot of found footage films. So that is what you're in store for today. So we hope you enjoy found footage films, and we hope that you enjoy our conversation today. But before I get to the title of the film for this episode, I'd like to introduce my special guest, and that is Mr. Jim Adams. Welcome to the show, Jim.
Yeah, you're a found footage guy.
Yes. So everyone listen.
I always joke every time I'm with you guys. I'm always joking about how the movie we're doing is a found footage film, and it's not. But now, we're back to found footage films again on this one.
Found footage films again. And the found footage film that we are doing tonight is 100 Ghost Street, The Return of Richard Speck from 2012. Now, if you haven't heard of this film, I'm not exactly surprised, but if you have, you'll realize this was one of a plethora of found footage films that took place in haunted houses or supposed haunted houses. There was a huge what would you call it? A smorgasbord of these type of films that were made when found footage films were popular, and this is just one of them. So I would not be surprised if you haven't heard of this film before, but it has a very long title, so maybe you've at least heard of the film based on its title, 100 Ghost Street. Now,
I doubt it. But
yeah. Obviously, but
the only thing they've got in the title that might grab people, if people are familiar with the story of Richard Speck, that might jump out at them. But these guys didn't do much research on that. They got a lot of stuff wrong in this, but that's okay.
I don't think they were trying to get anything right.
I don't think so either. This is a film, folks, made by the Asylum. That should say enough right there. It was a ripoff of all the paranormals that were coming out, and this one was. There was a group of 4 films that came out, sort of taking off of Paranormal Activity's success, called Paranormal Entity. And this was actually another title to this movie was Paranormal Entity 4, which was, trying to capitalize on Paranormal Activity 4, which came out the same year. So should tell you a whole lot about these folks.
So unlike a lot of films that we talk about, I do want to say the kind of like the basic writer and director of this, because that might help some people. The film was directed by Martin Wickman Anderson, and it was written by Nancy Leopardi.
Yes.
But if you've never heard of them, that will at least give you a little heads up on what type of movie you're in for, only because and Jim's already laughing before we even start talking about the movie.
Yeah. Well, yeah, Martin Anderson is a boy, there's not much out there on him, but I forgot what his middle name was, but it was like, just give you, if you go look him up in IMDb, it's Martin so-and-so Anderson. And then it says under the trivia, the only trivia they have for him is, he's also known as Martin W. Anderson. It's like, yeah, no kidding. He was from like Hungary or someplace. I forgot. He was a European-born director and has done stuff I've never heard of. A couple things here and there. So.
Well, I do want to ask you, when did you see this film for the first time?
About 3 months ago, when you put it on the found footage list.
So I actually saw this film when it originally came out, mostly because of the poster. I saw the movie because of the poster. I mentioned that because
it's the best thing in the movie.
A lot of these found footage movies were being sold based on a poster, and
it was. It's the best thing about this movie. The poster's great.
As you can see, Jim does not want to waste any praise on this film whatsoever. But to give the film, some generalization, it's about a group of filmmakers who go into the 100 Ghost Street house, which is not the actual title of the house. It is known as the Ghost Street house because of the fact that, people have died in there based on Richard Speck, and people had no idea if Richard Speck was there or if his ghost is there.
I was alive when that happened, so I could probably. It was a nationwide murder that happened. It was a multiple murder. When these kind of things weren't, in the news a whole lot. Richard Speck. This happened in Chicago, in a townhouse that served as a dormitory for a nearby hospital. And there were 8 nurses living there. And Richard Speck is very similar to what Ted Bundy did at Florida State University. He broke into this house and raped and murdered 8 nurses that were in there. Or I'm sorry, it was 7. 1 survived. There was actually a survivor. Somebody hid under one of the beds, and was able to escape with her life. Her traumatized life, I should say. But I mean, it was just a nationwide story. All the newspapers, all the networks had it. And 1966 is when it occurred. It was in July of 1966.
Okay. Now, I don't know how much of I don't know much about Richard Speck other than having heard the name before. That's
all he's known for. Those murders, really. That was the big thing.
Well, in the film, the filmmaking crew who are there trying to create a show about the house are
right, like a ghost hunter show type
thing,
yeah.
But they're purposely trying to antagonize the ghost as though there is a ghost in the house already, and yet they're still trying to antagonize the ghost throughout the film.
Absolutely.
It's acting, which they really don't have to do, because this movie, unlike a lot of found footage movies, it does not just hesitate with killing people off. It literally is how the movie opens, which is the opposite of most found footage movies.
That's true. Yeah, they it's right in the very beginning. They kill somebody off.
Yeah. So there's these 2 crewmen who are in the house setting up cameras for the production. And within 5 minutes, they're freaking killed.
They're gone, yeah.
They're gone. They only get mentioned later on in the film, so you're wondering who the hell are these guys and what are they doing? But they only get mentioned like.
And why did the people even want to come do the show after that? It was all caught on tape. They had it on camera. We saw it. We saw what the camera saw. So obviously, you have to think about the producer director of this show. Saying, okay, and now you're going to send a bunch of people into this? These 2 unexplained murders.
It is an odd little movie, but it other than this, follows a slasher formula where people are getting killed like every 10 minutes. Literally, someone's getting killed.
Yeah, I think you could set a stopwatch. Yeah, a watch to it.
Yeah, you can say it's like a slasher movie made as a found footage movie. As each one of the crew members is bumped off one by one, and yet they still find the impulse to keep filming. And that in a nutshell is kind of the general consensus of the movie. Now, even though that is kind of the general thing, there are some interesting aspects to the film as a found footage film. It doesn't break the rules of a found footage film, so that's one of the things that.
No, I'll give them that.
Yeah.
They were pretty good. I was the second time I watched this twice. Oh God, I don't know why I did that, but I really watched for it the second time, and I just a few hours ago before this, I wanted to have it. I wanted to have it fresh in my mind. I know, folks, the things I will do for this show. And they didn't. They didn't screw up in that regard. It was all, it looked the way it was supposed to, like it was coming off the camera that somebody was carrying. They had like 3 cameras at play here. One, the static cameras they had set up in the building, and then the 2 handhelds that they did, and they didn't break the rules on that at all. So. Yeah,
the characters of Jim and Dave are the cameramen in the film, and you're watching most of what happens through their lens.
Right.
And when the group breaks up into multiple little groups, so it does get a little confusing to keep track of who's who unless they say right off the bat who's actually going to be in that scene.
Yes, very, very hard to.
Yes, it took me a while to kind of keep Dave and Jim apart. Because
right, they were easy to confuse. A couple of them.
Easy to confuse. It's really easy to confuse, and even the main host. I couldn't remember her name. The main host.
Oh, that's Jackie.
Jackie and the PA, Sarah. I got confused for a while.
Right.
It takes the one of the things that, because the film wants to get you to jump right into what's going on, the characters are not introduced or set up at
No,
all.
not at all. Not at all.
Which is what is typical of a found footage film, where
Yep.
you set up all the characters beforehand. They don't do that in this movie, which may bug you a little bit, or it may bug you a whole lot. I guarantee you, the first time I saw this when it came out, it bugged me a whole hell of a lot. The movie left no impression on me whatsoever.
Yeah. What bugged me is when I found out they had a budget of $150,000. That bugged me a lot. It's like, okay, what did you spend it on? You know, and like I said, this was made during a time that the Asylum was just throwing money at filmmakers and said, "Go make us a horror film." You know, here you go. We'll give you this much money. Come back with a horror film. Here's how long it needs to be, so it can break. You know, because they were always showing them on Sci-Fi Network.
Always on Sci-Fi.
And you know, so it's got to have, and you know, make it so that we can put commercial breaks in there cleanly, and you know, here's your money. Go. And they were giving some people as much as $1 million to make, you know, formulaic type monster movies, and it was, oh my God, quality was not really what they were looking for.
Well, and that's the thing about this film. I don't think they weren't going for the quality aspects. They were going for a film that followed in the popular trend, which is found footage film.
Yeah, they wanted a pure found footage film.
And it had to stay close to a slasher film, which is why you get someone dying and killed every 10 minutes. Or so.
Right.
And this is not that long of a movie to begin with. But,
no, it's not.
The ideal is that when they knew that when you are going to watch this movie, you have to entertain the people who are going to like horror slasher films, and you're going to entertain the people who, in theory, enjoy found footage movies.
Yeah.
There are some interesting setups. Once, like halfway through the movie, when you finally figure out each of the different characters and they start breaking them up, there are some interesting sequences. The one where the director gets dragged up the wall through the ceiling, which is cool in and of itself. It's a cool idea.
It's my favorite part of the movie because it's the character I hated the worst. That guy, it was like, God, I hope they kill this guy. He better not survive this movie because he's the most unlikable character in a movie I've ever seen. And while people are dying, while his crew are dying, and a couple are going, we've just got to get out of here. This is my show. I'm the director. I'm the producer. I say when we go. And then he gets killed right after that. And I'm like cheering. I'm like, yeah, there you go. Okay.
And he is a very interesting kill. He gets killed and taken out of frame. And then, of course, you see his body dragged up the wall through the ceiling and stuck in some type of little cubby hole.
And then he disappears. I mean, when someone climbs up with a camera to look in this, you know, like, I don't know, like crawl space or whatever, where there's nothing there.
Well, they find him. Remember, they don't find his head.
No, they find him. They find the body. Oh, I'm confusing him with one of the other kills. You're right.
Yeah, I'm not surprised.
Yeah, that one they do find without the head. Yes,
because they have to go after the keys.
They know who he is because of the clothes he's wearing. But
so for everyone who's listening, you know. It's hard to talk about this movie in order. So talking about it in terms of the kills is much more interesting. Adam, who eventually gets killed, is dragged up into the ceiling of a crawl space, and it looks really
that's
cool.
The one I keep confusing with the Earl there.
It's really cool. But the fact is that they have to go up there and venture up there because he has the keys to unlock the front door, which is the drive and the story. You got to find a way to keep these people in the house.
Oh, they're locked in. Yeah,
they're locked in. Of course, they can't find the keys when they go into searching his pockets for the keys. We don't know why. We don't get a sense of that. But the funny thing is they use a remote control car.
Yeah, that was sort of fun. Yeah.
They use it several times to kind of go through crawl spaces and stuff like that.
To look for some. But here, did you wonder, you know, they left one of their guys stayed outside as sort of on guard. Why didn't they leave the keys with him?
So that's the thing.
But he gets killed anyway, so it doesn't really matter.
The guy outside, if I'm not mistaken, is the guy who let them onto the property.
Yes, he is.
Okay, he's not part of their film crew. He's
not part of the crew. No,
I don't know why he's there. Like once he lets them in, I don't know why he's there.
He should have kept the key. Then they could have gotten out. There'd been no, well, except that he gets killed. But
no, but I don't know why he stays there. Like
I'm not sure either. Yeah,
that babysitting
that
his
was
own
never
property.
explained. Yeah, that was never explained.
Yeah, it was never explained, but he gets killed pretty soon. But it's still like at first I was confused from that too. I kept thinking that he was part of the film crew that was just coming onto the property. But
yeah,
no, he's not part of the.
No, he's not. He was the one that was leasing it to him.
Yes.
And by the way, folks, the murders took place. The real murders took place in a townhouse. Like I said, that was acting as a dormitory for these nurses. This one they rent. It's a hospital.
Yes,
which I think they probably Nancy Leopoldi, who wrote this, and her husband also worked on this film as well. As he was one of the mystery voices you hear throughout the movie, and she did some of the voices as well, the ghost voices. She might have been influenced by the Ghost Hunters story, where they went in a couple times into two famous mental institutions that were closed down. One was a sanitarium for, I think, tuberculosis or something from the 1800s, and the other one was a mental institution, and stayed all night to capture, ghost voices and things like that. And they were actually some of the more interesting shows they did. So I think that's what probably influenced her to write this to take place in an old abandoned hospital.
Oh, yeah.
Plus, they probably, they found one in Los Angeles or San Francisco, where I think it was. They shot this in California. It made it look like Chicago, and used this old hospital as their setting, and then just sort of fashioned the story of Richard Speck and the murders around, he killed these people in a hospital, which is not really what happened. But anyway, they probably figured most of the people that are watching this movie weren't even alive when it happened, probably had no idea what the story was about.
They probably just used a Richard Speck.
The name was all they were really using.
Because people might remember a little bit of that.
Exactly. If you watch any of these forensic shows or historical, the horrible crimes of the century or whatever, it probably would show up on one of those.
Yeah.
With the serial killers that they highlight here and there.
Well, that's the funny thing is this one doesn't play like a ghost story. It plays like a serial killer.
It does, exactly. Yeah.
He just happens to be a ghost, but he's just bumping these people off one by one.
He just doesn't miss a trick after he's dead. He just keeps on going.
He just keeps on going. That's I laugh because that's one of the more interesting aspects is how generic it is, like a slap.
Yeah, I mean that's a little different. I'll give Nancy that one with the storyline. That's a little different.
Yeah.
And it sets up some great scenes where you've got one character, I think it's the character of Jim, who just gets so frustrated with all these people dying around him, and he knows there's something. They know something's there with him, and he starts screaming at him like, "You son of a bitch! Show yourself! Show yourself!" And then he gets killed. It's like, okay, I'll show myself.
Well, you know what? There's no subtlety to this film, and I don't think that there needs to be. I think this film is one of those films where they generally know the audience is going for, despite the low expectations of the film. They do know the exact audience they are catering towards for this film.
Yeah,
I would love to know if it was at all a successful film on Sci-Fi or on DVD and everything.
I don't know. Asylum made money on all the movies pretty much that they made, so who knows?
Yeah. I don't know anything else other than that. I
was surprised they even got a budget for this one.
Well, it's Asylum. They had, they get a budget for everything.
Yeah. Because I was really surprised to see that, but then I couldn't find any information on, if it was successful or not.
It'll be a location. They probably shot in a real location, and that's why it looks like it does.
It was an old abandoned hospital.
Okay, so
I think it was in San Francisco, if I'm not mistaken.
Okay, so you think it was in San Francisco? Okay, because the thing is, that's one of the best things about the thing is the location.
It's a great location.
Like
that was an awful looking place. I mean, it looked like it'd been abandoned for 30 years or so. I mean, it was
these characters
dirty and dingy, and
and these characters wander with the camera through all these little nooks and crannies, basements, and everywhere else. So
it's like a big maze.
Yeah, it's like thank you, a big maze or a labyrinth. That's exactly what this is. It feels that way. It doesn't feel like a small contained film.
Oh no, it's not. No, not. It's nothing like where the actual murders took place.
Yeah. I think they had a location and they shot the hell out of it.
I agree.
And that being said, I would love to know how much of this was scripted versus how much wasn't scripted.
I think like a lot of found footage films, I think that Nancy put together an outline, a detailed outline, and I think the actors were pretty much let loose to do what they can, and then they would go from there and just see how it worked out.
Yeah,
because it felt like that. It felt like an ad lib type movie, which is a shame because it sort of hurts it.
It kind of hurts it, and sometimes it doesn't, because that's when I wanted to get to. I wasn't sure about that because despite the fact the character seems very, they're not developed enough because we don't get to know any of them really.
No, we don't.
All the characters seem almost genuine in the part they play in the film.
They do. I'll give them that, and they were all actors. We don't have a lot on them. A lot of them have not done very much. Except for one, Jack, the one who plays Jackie, who's like the host, the experienced host and blonde, and she's a little uppity because she sort of looks down on everybody. And it's played by a gal by the name of Jackie Moore, who's had quite an extensive television appearance resume and a few feature films here and there. I mean, I would say she's a successful actress. I mean, she's making a living at it, still working. So she's not the most likable character in this, but I don't think she was supposed to be. And she does some nice work in this. But the one I really liked was Haley Derryberry, who plays the little blonde. She's Sarah. She's Sarah, and she has a great scene in there that I think she does. This is one thing that I really, I liked what she did. She's the first one that gets attacked, that they're aware of. I won't say not the first one attacked because there's a couple that get killed that they don't know about for a while. But it's a great setup where she disappears. They heard her scream and they were in another room. They came run. They can't find her. And then they find her later, huddled up against a wall. It's sort of like something out of the Blair Witch Project.
Yes.
Which is what it reminded. And then she lifts up her arm. Her right arm is like, it looks like it's just the skin's been torn off the bottom of it near the elbow, bleeding all over the place. And when they realize that she's been badly injured, I mean, the write-up says she was scratched. No, she wasn't scratched. It looks like she was gored, and the way she plays that sort of in shock and, and all that, I thought was not over the top and actually was not bad. Yeah. And she may be the least experienced actress that I found in this compared to the others. So she doesn't really have much work under her belt, or I don't even know if she's still acting or not. I think she is, but at the time she really didn't have any credits whatsoever.
Oh, interesting. I didn't know that. Okay.
Yeah. I was able to find a little on her, but not a whole lot. I don't really know if she's still acting or not, but I saw they did have some in her IMDb page. She did have what looked like some recent headshots, so she may be still out there working somewhere. I mean, a lot of these people might be stage actors too.
Oh yeah, that's another thing. Yeah. Because we kind of touched upon a lot of the characters except for our sound person Jen, who's a very interesting.
I liked that character a lot. I did. She was very believable to me. There was only one time where she went a little over the top, and she sort of described, where her mother abused her by locking her in a closet or something, and so she doesn't like elevators or closed-in places. Which is great because she's teamed up with Jim, who says he's claustrophobic. So it's like, oh boy, yeah, these two are great to pair them together. Yeah, which comes to play in the movie story.
It does, and that's the thing is, I do think that if they had taken the time to establish these characters a little bit more before we jumped right in, we would have probably felt something more for them when they bumped off one by one. I mean, one of the good things is, some of these scenes are actually really suspenseful, like the sequence where they're going after the director Adams' body up in his cubbyhole. I think that's Jackie who goes. I think it's Jackie that goes up there. See, this is the
yes, it is. No, she's the one who goes up into the crawl space.
She's the one who doesn't want to go in the crawl space, or anything like that. So it's very interesting to see when she dies, because we see the specter of Richard Speck come to take her and kill her.
Yeah, we only see him like maybe 2 or 3 times at most. It's very quick.
It's very
Just
quick.
flashes, just flashes.
A lot of times we just get eyes that flash.
That's it. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Which brings me to the next thing is how do you feel about how they presented Speck in here as a the ghost or entity or however you want to put it?
That was one of the things. I didn't have any real problems with that, and I figured, okay, they didn't do any research on anything else. They probably didn't even know what he looked like to begin with.
Yeah. I didn't think about
I mean,
that.
he was a tall, skinny guy that had big framed. I'm wearing some tonight. Big frame black glasses, and looked very nerdish, in real life or whatever. So, but you don't
see him.
That was the part I like. I don't mind that in a movie. Sometimes it plays in well. It's one of the better things they did in this. Is not You don't really see him close up. You don't need to.
Yeah, you don't see any
details. Just fine. I like the flashes of it or whatever.
Yeah, I want to get your opinions on that because
no, that one I didn't mind. That's one of the few things, guys, I didn't mind about that film.
Normally, we get a good glimpse of the ghost or the specter in these found footage movies or whoever's killing it, but in this movie, you don't. And so it makes for a much more interesting concept, especially in the very end. When it is Jen who thinks she's escaped. I think it's Jen.
Yes, Jen is the one who you think.
Jen.
And I was thinking, okay, that's it. That's the one I wanted to see make it.
Yeah.
And I thought, okay, now maybe they do know a little more about this than I thought, because they have a scene where Jen is trying to escape before she gets into the little crawl space that leads to a pipe that leads it out, where she hides under the bed.
Mm-hmm.
And something comes in. She sees someone coming in, and it's like he's having sex on the bed. And that's exactly what happened in the real murder case.
Oh.
The nurses were being killed. They're being raped and killed. And one of them was able to get under the bed. Apparently it was a very low-lying bed, and hid under there. Of course, it was at night, so it was dark. While Speck was killing one of the nurses right there on the top of the, raping and killing one of the nurses on top of the bed. And he never checked under the bed. And that's the only reason she survived the murders, while the other 7 were being killed and raped. And so it's like, I kept thinking, okay, Nancy might have known a little about this, because that was something that was widely reported, because they, she was a survivor. So news people were all over her after that murder happened. And it was the thing that led to Richard Speck being caught, because they had an eyewitness who could identify him or whatever. So that was sort of a takeoff on what really happened. I mean, that was the closest to the real murders that they portray in this film. But so I found that a little interesting. But and Jen was the perfect one to play that.
Yeah, because it was entertaining to see her climbing through the.
Oh my God! Yeah, because she hated closed places too, and then there's mice in there or rat. Well, I think they wanted to suggest rats, but I think all they could afford were white mice. So okay, that's all right. It works. I mean, it was so. I wouldn't want to crawl through there. I'll tell you that.
Yeah. Well, it's visual because the guy who gets killed on the outside. What the heck was his name? I can't remember his name. Man.
Now I can't remember that character's name.
Earl?
Yeah, that's Earl. Yeah.
Okay, so Earl, who gets killed outside, has the interesting death of being sucked into that freaking duct.
He gets sucked into the duct. Yeah.
He gets sucked into the duct, and of course, at the end, we see Jen climbing through a duct in the building to get out, because the entire all the entrances have been shut down and locked up and tight. And so we're like, all right, she actually survives, I guess.
Yeah, I was like, okay, you're going to let me at least feel decent at the end of this movie. That's good. Okay.
Well, she's not so lucky. She's not as lucky as she had hoped to be.
No,
which is unfortunate, because our Richard Spector can actually affect things outside of 100.
I guess he's haunting the whole property, not just the buildings. So.
Yes, I was not expecting that, and
I wasn't either. They caught me off guard on that.
Caught me off guard on that one. So I can't say that I disliked it, and I can't say that I liked it. I liked the fact that it surprised me. I just kept thinking, shit, They just need to make it a real found footage, which they did, where everyone died.
They did, yeah. I mean, she still had the camera. She was using the camera as a lighting source, and it was still rolling.
Yep.
So it was still recording, and all of a sudden, boom, quick flash, and she's gone. Drops the camera, and that's how the movie ends.
Yeah, well, we see her getting.
We see her getting killed. Yeah.
Yeah, see, killed and dragged back into the house.
Right.
another set of bodies that goes
right.
Probably in some pit in that location that no one will ever find.
Yeah.
Which is interesting. Like I said.
Well, yeah, I mean, they killed the guy that leased the property to him. So, I mean, unless somebody follows up on that murder or disappearance, they would never know anybody was in there at all.
So that's the thing about this film. This film has relishes in the fact of killing a lot of people.
They could have done so much with this. I mean, it's like I was intrigued with the concept when I saw the title. I said, okay, this could be a little interesting. And then, it was like, okay, ghost hunters and go to the place where Richard Speck killed all these women and stuff. Okay, I'll go with that. Although I think this would be, if I was a family member of one of those nurses, I'd be a little upset with this movie, just because they're dragging all that up again. But but they had a concept that they could have done something very clever with, and with Sarah's incident, they showed it. I mean, her storyline was the best storyline in this whole movie, because she not only gets attacked. The first one that we see getting attacked, which catches us a little bit. And she's like the nicest person on this whole crew, just about. And then, she gets it right off the bat. And then, they have her, say, well, we're not going to leave, because, big director's not going to let them leave. Yeah. So they find a bed and they let her sleep there, which I thought, oh God, that's a death sentence. Oh, and it was because, here comes the ghost of Richard Speck back and he rapes and kills her.
That's right.
It's just like, oh man, the nicest one there, and she gets it. It'd be like killing and raping Laurie Strode in Halloween.
Yeah.
It's like, dad gum.
You're right. I had to think about that.
But her whole storyline was the most interesting, and they handled that well. And it's almost like when Nancy wrote this, she wrote from that and then wrote off of that, because the other ones are just not as interesting. It's just sort of, oh, yeah, here's another one going to die. How are they going to kill this one? They're going to hang this guy? Okay, they're going to chop the head off here? Okay. And, I mean, it was just like, yawn. I mean, it was nothing really new.
No, and that's a problem with what we saw with a lot of found footage films coming out when they were really popular. There were a ton of them coming out, and a lot having to do with haunted houses. And
yes, well, a lot of them liked, Ghost Hunters was at an all-time high during that. If you remember, that show was just dominating that whole genre. And then you had Ghost Adventures with those three guys that knew the guys that from Ghost Hunters and stuff. And those guys, by the way, folks, they're very serious about what they do. I met several of them.
Yes, so
at conventions, and they're very serious about what they did. This was not phony baloney stuff. But yeah, those shows were hot as a bullet back then. They were all over the map.
Yeah, well, it's
ghost guys going out to find ghosts.
Yeah, well, and that's where we kind of look at this film in a different light than say the stuff that is legitimate found footage films.
Yeah,
and this is still legitimate found footage. But when you look at films that were made by like the Asylum, there's a couple of them. I think Asylum, New Image, and a whole bunch of other ones who kind of riffed on popular movies at the time.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah.
But then created movies that would appeal to their specific audience.
Right.
And Asylum and several of the other ones out there needed heavy body counts, weird monsters, or ghosts, and they brought in the found footage aesthetic. So it feels like it was catered to a specific audience. Now, that being said, that from our perspective, it doesn't have the suspense or character building moments or the ambiance and aesthetics of Paranormal Activity, which was extremely popular for people who don't
type
of movies. This one is geared specifically towards people who like asylum movies, who just need to have, beautiful women, arrogant men, monsters, and lots of people dying every time on schedule. And to be honest with you, it follows that perfectly. You don't get to know.
Oh, it does. No, it follows the script perfectly on that. Yeah.
You don't get to know any of these characters really, and
no.
like are the people who die first.
No, it's funny. The only ones you get to know a little bit are Jim and Jen. They're both claustrophobic, and Jen has this little monologue about how her mother used to punish her and stuff like that. Yeah. The rest of them is like, I just know that the director producer is just a real dick. I mean, he's just a jerk, and he's a jerk in the beginning and all that. And, anyone in their right mind, once Sarah got injured like she did, obviously attacked, would have said, "We're out of here. Come on, pack it up, go." But he says, "I don't care. I don't care about it. People get hurt or whatever. This is my show, and I'm going to do my show. Damn it,
Yeah, I think at one time he tells them that Mike brought her. He could deal with her or something like that. I can't remember the exact.
Yes, that's right. That's right.
Because he Adam didn't hire her for his production.
That's right. That's right.
I'm like, oh damn, he is hardcore.
No, he was. Yeah, man. Like I said, one of the most unlikable characters I've seen in a movie in a while.
Yeah. And this film doesn't skip from killing people and showing it. And like we said, we see Sarah get more or less raped by Richard Speck. And so for the people wanting to, just to be entertained and turn their brain off, this film might actually be entertaining and for them. This might be a film.
Probably. Yeah.
I mean, I've seen a lot of asylum movies, and I turn my brain off when I watch those films.
Yeah.
At some point, you have to realize that there are movies out there that are not made to win awards. They are.
Oh, that's true. Yeah,
made to entertain the lowest common denominator.
That's it.
Can't do that, then they suck. And I believe that there are more people out there who like these type of low brain movies. Movies they don't have to think about. That they can sit back, beer, and chill, eat some chicken wings and some shit. Like I'm just making some shit up now, y'all.
Oh yeah.
I've seen a lot of these movies, and I'm not sitting back drinking a beer while watching them. They're in the background completely. That's the reason why.
Well, I got to be honest. The first time I saw this movie, I fell asleep during it. Missed the whole middle section of the movie. So when I watched it this time, so I missed the part with Sarah. So when I'm watching the second time, I was like, "Oh man, I fell asleep during probably one of the more interesting aspects of this movie." It was so I had to go back and watch it a second time, unfortunately. But that's the initial impact it had on me. It just put me to sleep.
I don't remember anything about the movie, and everyone who knows me knows that I watch a lot of random movies.
And
I don't even know how I got to see this movie. I did see it, and I didn't give it a high praise when I saw it, and I never bothered to watch it again.
You might have got it through. I think it got a write-up in Bloody Disgusting, and I know you read that.
Yeah.
I know they reviewed it, and the kindest review, and they gave it one of the kinder reviews I read. That just said, well, out of all of the Asylum found footage films, this one's one of the better ones. That's the best he could say.
I think I have a box set. That's a box set of films that has a ton of Asylum films on it. That's how I saw this movie. Because I saw it when it came out. Maybe a year or so afterwards. Because I obviously don't have Sci-Fi Channel, so I'm not watching these when they originally air. I'm probably waiting a year.
Yeah, I don't have Sci-Fi Channel anymore. So,
but I've seen a lot of their movies because sometimes I just watch bad movies to watch bad movies.
Oh yeah, no, I mean I had it for years when I was on DirecTV, and I'm sorry, I'm not a show for DirecTV folks, but I lived out in the country, and it's all I could really get anything on was my dish. So I watched a lot of those films too, quite a few. But I didn't see this one. I didn't see this one when it aired. So
no, and it was buried to me among the 200,000.
It probably ran once, and they never ran it again.
So, well, the funny thing about Asylum and some of the other companies that produce these type of movies is that they even back then they were still making money by putting them off the DVD.
Oh
And
yeah,
at
yeah,
Walmart.
absolutely.
So you would
Yeah,
see them all there and stuff
yeah,
like
you'd see them in the $5 bin or whatever.
that, you know. So I'm guaranteeing the movie made its money back, but these films are not designed to have a shelf life longer than the time that it took to air it to one time.
Just to sell some advertising and get it on the air. That's it.
That's pretty much it. And so, uh, what do you think about having these type of films out there? Now, it's unfortunate the horror genre is like there's a plethora of these type of films out there. Do you
Oh
think
yeah.
it hurts or it hurts the genre overall? Do you think it helps? What do you think?
I mean, I've never told anybody, with the exception of one movie, not to see the movie. You know, it's just like there's an audience for everything that's ever made, and I figure with these guys, actually, you know, the husband and wife team of we talked about Nancy Leopardi, the writer of that, but her husband's involved with this film as well. Stephen Bencinch, I think is how he pronounces his name, and they do the ghost voices. But he's produced some big films. You know, and this was early in his career. I mean, you know, he's done a film. He produced a film for DreamWorks, and
Oh, okay.
he and his writing partner have written a lot of animated films that I was familiar with. So, I mean, you know, a couple of these folks went on to some career of some sort, and I think, you know, they get $150,000 and have a chance to make a movie. Let's go make a movie. I'm just thinking about you and me. You know, it's like, you know, we've been doing independent films for years, and if someone gave you $150,000, I think you and I both know where we would go with it. We've got a movie probably we can pull out of our back pocket and make. You know?
We most certainly can. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, you know, so I mean, it's like I don't begrudge anybody that if they've got an opportunity to do that, to do it. You know, it's just I'm not going to, you know, because you never know. Sometimes you get a real gem out of some of these.
Yeah, and keep in mind, someone like Leopardi has produced and directed and written a ton of movies.
She has. She's had a relatively successful career.
A really successful career. Yeah. So the thing is, she's producing these movies for a very specific audience, and they are hitting that specific audience. And that specific audiences keep coming back for more of those movies. I looked over some of her titles, and I've seen a lot of them. And they're like,
I had too. Yeah, I was really surprised with her and her husband
and all that type of stuff. I'm like, dude,
wow. You know, okay, she used this as a launching pad. You know, it looks like.
Yeah, and you know, this is one of the reasons why we talk about films like this on the program. Everyone is like these lower end films, and that are specifically catered towards an audience may not be at the height of the horror genre, like we would think, like John Carpenter's The Thing, or you know,
right,
James Cameron's Aliens, or Ridley Scott's Alien, but there are filmmakers out there who work in the smaller arena of horror.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, look at all the Corman directors.
Perfect example. Corman.
Well, Corman was sort of the 50s answer to the Asylum, but Rogers films, I think, still had a quality about them that's a little better than some of these.
Some of them.
But he had some stinkers. Yeah, he had some that are really bad. But I mean, Asylum almost prides himself on they have a model.
They have a model
and a template to follow in all of their films. If you watch any of their films, they're all the same movie, just with different monsters and different people,
monsters, and it's
the same formula, all the way here and there.
And well, this was also an odd one because you don't have a star that carries.
No, you really don't. Yeah, I mean, Jackie Moore. Like I said, Jackie Moore is probably the closest thing to a ringer. And I don't think probably at the time she was that well known. Yeah. So, I mean, she may have done a little more than the rest of them had. But I mean, she was just getting started as well. So.
Yeah. So, but talking about these films, because no one else is probably talking about these films, it's always interesting to me. But no, it's not just that we're talking about it because it's a found footage film. That's the main reason why we're talking about it, because we're talking about a lot of found footage films over the next year or so. But you know, we haven't delved deep into the Asylum and New Image and those lower budget films that cater towards a specific audience yet, because they're just either one, not seen enough by the people who really love horror, and a lot of those other films have a lot of action in them as well. So they
That's
appeal
true. Yeah.
a crossover audience with a live action. Like they are, it's unfortunate that this one doesn't have a star like most of those other films. They usually get I hate to say this out loud, has been star, a former big
Yeah, no, yeah, I call them ringers. I mean, they get a
ringers.
name,
Okay.
a name actor that maybe is on the downside of his or
Yeah.
her career, and but at least it's recognizable
Yes.
and has a name, and
Yeah,
that's why they get them.
That's a great title. I didn't think about ringer. That's a perfect title for him because I don't like using my term. Ringer is it. It's some of us who grew up in the '80s because they use a lot of '80s stars, former
Absolutely.
'80s stars, and '90s television stars. Some of us go out there and we watch those based on that. I'm guilty. I'm guilty. I've seen a lot.
Me too. Yeah,
I've watched them
absolutely.
like that, and
Yeah.
so the thing is, I for the most part, I could sit down and watch one of these New Image Asylum, even Charlie Brand movies.
I grew up on Charles Band movies. I mean, yeah, I love those things. Yeah.
I could just sit back and enjoy those. They're not highbrow horror films.
No,
They are entertaining films with crazy monsters.
I call them mindless entertainment. You don't need your brain. Just have fun.
There's no reason.
It's like going to an amusement park and riding a roller coaster.
There you go. An amusement park ride. Dude, that's perfect.
That's all it is. Yeah.
Yeah, that's perfect. And I will not ever look down upon those because
no, I don't. I mean, I could have. When I make fun of them, I make fun of them lovingly. But
yes,
on my podcast, we do something called Ragorama.
Yes,
and it's never mean. It's not mean. It's fun. We want to make you laugh, but not at anyone's expense. Just that, we don't. We don't make fun of them. We have fun with them.
Yeah, and Full Moon and Kaufman's film.
All of those guys. Oh, and I love Lloyd Kaufman's films.
Yes, Lloyd Kaufman's films are nothing but fun entertainment movies that don't speak to the highbrow audience.
And by the way, folks, and I'm going to give a little plug here. I hate to take advantage of your, but coming up next year, you probably heard me talk about Monsterama. It's a convention that we have here in Atlanta every year. Lloyd Kaufman will be at Monsterama next year.
So there you go. That just means, everyone, that we need to get on our Kaufman films for next year. We'll have a bunch of them. So thank you for telling me that, Jim. I'm gonna add some on.
I just found out last week he'd been signed to come to Monster Attack. So
yeah.
He's old as the hills. He's a lot older than I am.
Yeah, but he's
still been doing he's just going nonstop on the convention circuit. He's a fun guy to talk to. He really is.
So yeah, we're gonna have to have fun with his films next year. Thank you.
Oh yeah.
It's the only ones that have been asked of us is the Toxic Avenger movie.
Toxic Avenger.
But dude, I would just sit down and love the rewatch.
But all the trauma films, and they're just I can't even name them all. Yeah.
Oh my god!
But I loved them all, except for Tromeo and Juliet.
We're gonna have fun with that. So we're gonna. For everyone, we're gonna have to add some more of these type of films on our list because they are fun. They are. Quality may be questionable.
Well, Toxic Avenger became a cult phenomenon. I mean, even action figures and stuff. I mean, he just
an animated
just tore it up.
Show. And a comic book series from
that whole
Marvel.
Series. That's right.
Marvel. So
yes.
But that being said, is there anything else we can think of to talk about in regards to 100 Ghost Street, Jim?
I think it was best said by one of the critical reviews that I read on it was a found footage film that should have remained lost. Other than that, I gave him some positive notes, but and I really liked. I really liked Haley Derryberry's sequence or storyline. I like Jen's storyline, but the rest of it was just, unfortunately, just done so much. It is so redundant that I just couldn't find anything else really to like about it.
Okay, so for everyone here listening to our program, what we love to do is we like to rate every film that we bring up to you from 1 to 5 stars, 1 being poor, 5 stars being amazingly excellent. Where on the spectrum, Jim, do you put 100 Ghost Street, The Return of Richard Speck?
I think this is one is going to be about a 1.5. And that's for a couple of those scenes I just mentioned that it had some moments, but they missed their opportunity. Nancy, I know you were a young writer at the time, but oh my God, you had a nice concept and you could have done so much more with it. But anyway.
To be honest with you, I'm giving it a 2, but mostly because there are a lot of found footage films that borrow this very same concept
Oh
and
yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah.
nearly as entertaining because they stay so close to the found footage aesthetic and the tropes of a found footage film, whereas this
Yes.
film is more like a slasher film that just happens to be a found footage film. So
Yeah.
I give it a little bit more for that aspect alone. Because for me, it's like,
I can't argue with that logic at all.
someone's dying every 10 minutes. Oh shit, I need to watch this because someone's
Yeah.
dying every 10
You
minutes.
might miss something. Yeah.
In a lot of the other found footage movies, it's like 40 minutes before anyone even gets the hint of dying, and then the last 15 minutes, everyone dies.
Yeah, it's because they're so low budget they can only afford so much blood and stuff like that. So
and with
makeup's expensive, folks.
with $100,000, they had plenty of money on this one.
Yeah, man. No, that's what I was going to say. I think it all went into the killings. No, they did some really grotesque killings, and so they had a good makeup guy,
Yeah,
whoever it was, or team, or whoever did it.
All right. So I want to thank you all for listening to us here at Conversations in Horror, where we talked about 100 Ghost Street, The Return of Richard Speck. We hope that you've enjoyed our program and that you will seek out our previous programs. We have done a ton of them, so just make sure to look at our previous episodes. You have a great library of films that we've talked about, so please check that out. Also, make sure to check out our sister podcast, Conversations in Hammer Studio Horrors, which delves deep into Hammer Studio films that you can catch every other Friday, the first and third Friday of every month, at 8 a.m. And then make sure to check out our Patreon page, which is a subscriber-based page where our other podcast, Conversations in Four Color, lives. And that one delves into comic books, manga, and graphic novels. And it's mostly about me talking about stuff that I read. So thank you, Jim, for joining us. Thank you, everyone, for listening to us. And we hope that you had a entertaining experience listening to us and that you will come back and listen to more of Conversations in Horror. Have a good day. Conversations in Horror is a Broken Lighthouse Pictures production, written, produced, and directed by Kevin L. Powers, executive producer Kelly A. Inoka. All contents and material from this episode of Conversations in Horror is copyright 2025 Broken Lighthouse Pictures.